There we go.
I need to go away. I'm just kind of just bumming around. I didn't know where anyone was. I'm here. Ah! Hold up. Hold up.
Finally, we made it after a 1 week pause. There we go.
Yeah, we're back.
There's a lot of cover. There's a lot of cover.
Yeah.
There's
definitely.
a lot of cover. We got tea. We got tea. We got beefs.
Ooh, it's been a week.
Yeah. It's been a hard week for everybody. So welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
Welcome.
I don't know how you been, man. First of all, how you been?
I'm good.
How was your week?
Busy. We just had stuff. Just existing. Really. How about you?
Fuck, I'm sick since yesterday. Well, 2 days ago. But it's like it starts to creep up on you slowly. And today it's the worst day in the sense of like, you know what I got? I have this thing that in the back of your throat, you think something is coming down and it's kind of like burning you. And then every time you swallow, there's like this, and I feel like I want to spit it out, but it only makes it worse. And I'm like, fuck, I don't know. In a weird attempt to get rid of it or something, I sniffed a little bit of a nasal spray.
Right, I thought you were going to say like something else then.
Maybe later. I don't know. Maybe later.
Why did I close both nostrils? That's really.
Yeah. I just keep some emergency crack cocaine here in the office.
Yeah.
For blue cases. Yeah. Nah, and I think that kind of like made it better. So if I pass out live on the stream, that'd be great.
Okay.
Get some juice. That'd be
I'll have to hold the fort down.
Yeah. Just hold it on until I come to. So that'd be great. It usually takes 5 minutes.
Oh Jesus. Okay. I mean, why am I
Yeah, but
following you? I am unfollow now. Okay. Bye.
Bye. But yeah, no. Other than that, I think we all had like a pretty busy week. Yeah. Thanks to everybody who's joining. Like I think we have like 5-6 people more than last time, which is really amazing. I did not really. I think we set the expectation bar too low.
Yeah,
but,
I think so.
But I think it's nice. Like at least you don't get disappointed. You're like, fuck it, let's just hang out, see what happens.
Exactly. I mean, we come into this with. Well, I think actually today is the only time that we've come with some semblance of a plan. What should we maybe talk about this week?
Yeah. There's a lot of shit that we can cover. Well, I guess let's stop beating around the bush and let's just talk cowgirl stuff. I'm pretty sure. I was really interesting to hear your opinion. I mean, of course, we talk because we're kind of like friends now.
I suppose. I mean, is that what you'd call it?
Yeah, I think Gabu on the Discord, he sent me a really nice message in terms of like what friendship is. Because I told him like, I don't know, we live in a simulation, so fuck it. What is friendship? And he's like, well, if you call each other like cunts every now and then, I think that's pretty much resembles it. So I'm like, yeah, I'll take that. It's fine.
I think
so I'm good.
Like kind of on that note, this entire like community, it can be difficult to really understand whether you're like friends or whether they're just kind of blowing smoke up your ass, or whether they actually give a shit about you or your music. That obviously comes into play when people share your stuff without like being provoked. So and you just get like a random Instagram message because someone shared your track on their stories. That's really nice. And
that's cool. Yeah. No, it's I think I definitely understand what you're saying. I believe what I would add to that is that there's a lot of ghosting happening in this community. Maybe stuff like that happens I don't think that it happens in real life, so much ghosting at least, but it's been like a very common trait ever since I started this whole thing, that there would be people who they would come across as like friends, or they would try to befriend you, or they would just hang out every now and then. And then, after a week or two, you kind of like see a pattern of like, there's like some questions come and they ask you about stuff, and you being like super happy that you made a friend, like, yeah, fuck it, I'm just going to share info, like, why not, whatever.
Yeah.
And then that's it. So, yeah, cheers to that. Cheers to that. Happy that you guys are out there. At least
Yeah, absolutely.
you're making us look different or distinguish us from everybody else, from other ghosters, which is great.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
We ghost for a reason.
Yeah. And
Okay.
there's like, I think there's like several, like, making a segue to the whole cowgirl thing. I think there's like a lot of things that are being told, in front of the camera or comments, and a lot of stuff that happens on the back channels at the same time. But please take it away. I'm the guy who like chats a lot, but I'm just gonna listen today a lot.
I'm the guy who listens. Well, okay, I guess let's talk about cowgirl then. The only thing that we've kind of come prepared. Well, I say prepared with. I have the second post open, but I guess we could go into at least what we understand what happened. So basically, they posted their Asian compilation thing with accompanied by a series of posts on their label Instagram that broke down how all of these producers, I guess, found their sound for this compilation, or how they did that, and
they came to
I think it got a lot of people a bit butthurt, because when you kind of break down the people behind, and this is nothing on those producers that actually took part in the compilation. I think that's something that we should make clear from the very beginning.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It kind of was a very tone deaf attempt at and see, this is where I find it difficult. I understand why people are upset, because it was just a bunch of, well, all but one of the producers were, like white, European, maybe American as well. And that's kind of the main thing that's got everybody annoyed. But so there's kind of two sides to it. I understand why people are mad at that, because Lofi Girl was very closed off. They have their private Discord, they have their collection of producers. And as far as I'm understanding, they put out the call for this compilation, amongst this core group. And
I can. This is something that I can confirm as well. So we're talking with facts, people.
Exactly. So, and I think the argument is, like I said, two sides to it. You've got them just selecting what they thought was the best tracks that were submitted, and they just happen to be mostly, white guys. But at the same time, there's also that kind of other side to it, where should they have specifically called for, those producers with some sort of ties to Asian heritage, whether it's within their blood or family connection, blah blah blah. Are they actually Asian, for example? Then does that discredit the other artists that have talent? There's kind of that fine. And this is kind of why I didn't really get heavily involved with it. I didn't leave anything on the post or whatever. And because I don't feel like, for me, as a straight white male or whatever, that it's my argument.
Yeah.
And again, that's another side to it. Whereas, like, the very first post that they did, it was a lot of, people like you and me just jumping on, being like, oh, this is fucking tone deaf. And there wasn't a lot of those, really notable Asian producers that were really saying anything. And it's kind of who are we to fight that fight if it might not necessarily be a fight to fight?
I think it's the classic white man syndrome. Like I think we were really eager to fight everybody else. But always I think with I like to get involved in these things, and sorry to interject. I like to get involved in these things with a dash of humor. Like I definitely don't see all that stuff serious, in the sense of to be a little bit of the devil's advocate. It's it's exactly like you said, like Dim or Cowgirl, Lofi Girl, like he always they always like give you like a direction. Oh, you should do something that sounds 3 a.m. beats or Asian
Yeah.
or Oriental or whatnot. And then everybody starts submitting. There's a deadline. They get the stuff together. They pick and choose. And then I think the remaining were selected for future compilations. I mean, it makes sense. You end up with like a huge pool of submissions, and usually like the quality of the music is fucking insane. So you cannot like really diss everything. So coming back to the devil's advocate thing is that the music is gonna go out if it's good or not, or if it fits the preferences, the curation preferences of the person who's curating the actual compilation. So like me as well, I'm not gonna see color, race, sexual preference, pronouns, shit like that. I just like, if it's good, I'll take it. If it's not,
Yeah.
that's it. To be like on that side. However, I mean, that's also like one of the reasons when I just try to stay faithful into the seasonal compilations, because you cannot really go wrong with spring, summer,
Yeah.
winter. It's of course you can go wrong to say Asian spring or Russian winter or something like that. But I'm pretty sure like if I don't think that any Russian would feel like culturally appropriated if someone tries to include like bear sounds in their little. Anyway, so definitely I understand. The compilation itself is great. Yeah. I heard it like a couple of times over. It's classic cowgirl stuff. Like it's really cool, like relaxing, sleepy, whatever. Fine. But then adding that, this is like I always get triggered, like adding this like oomph basically to the I do this and I do that. I get it in the sense of like I don't mind listening to or basically hearing how somebody got inspired for whatever. But when you do we live in 2021 or 2020 or whatever you want to call it, and we have witnessed as a generation, millennials and otherwise, that things are getting a bit sensitive on the internet, So I definitely got this vibe, like the tone deafness of the whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, come on, man. Like there's like, that's why my initial post was like a response there. Don't get me wrong, I have released stuff with him. It's fine. Like there's a couple of tracks in compilations and shit. But it's like, there's like almost like 50 countries in that continent.
Yeah. Yes,
it's not just
very sort of like Japanese orientated. I mean, it was just straight up just like Japanese.
I mean, I also left like a little bit of like a tone deaf comment as well. I said my first was my first post was like, oh, didn't you mean like Oriental? Which I understand like is not the best thing to say, but when I would hear like all the Japanese instrument, I cannot say Asian, because like this is like 50 covers, 50 countries. Like in my head, Oriental means more of the Japanese culture. Maybe again, that's fucking wrong probably, but still,
I think that's
like
yes and no.
It's That's why I said on my post, like, why isn't fucking Russia is part of Asia? Why isn't there a fucking balalaika playing that shit? Like if somebody comes to me, it's like, oh, let's just do like an Asian vibe, whatever. Asia is like 50 countries. I've seen other comments as well that I kind of liked in the sense of somebody said like, yeah, but what about country XYZ and the instruments of that country, or did anybody like study them or whatever? Like, yeah. And then what really kind of like, how should I say, being part of this community made me feel like it was the response, which was like, for me, was like a glorified go fuck yourself to everybody who said anything.
Well, that second response that they did was incredibly contradictory as well.
Mm-hmm.
It was like the purpose of this compilation was to open the door to more diversification with the genre. What, by having a collection of like 12 to 15 white guys? And it's not like,
was it supposed to open the door for them?
Yeah,
like,
well, maybe.
What is it? And there's I mean, we don't want to throw, like, let's make clear that we don't want to throw any shade on the producers themselves, because most of these guys, I like them as well. I mean, some of them even released with us too. But it's like, Come on, man. Come on.
I think it mostly comes on the shoulders of the label itself. They
Yeah, yeah,
kind of came at it being like, look at us, we're pioneers of this specific genre, and we're making changes by doing like an Asian compilation. And it's kind of like,
yeah,
that's not really new.
yeah, yeah,
It's almost like Goodyear going to Pirelli and being like, hey, we've made a tire. And they're like, okay.
yeah. Good for you. Yeah, it's. Yeah, I think there should have been. How should I say? Like the more popular you get, or you get more under the microscope for me. So
Hmm.
whether you like it or not, there are some things that you would have to pay attention to. I mean, at the end of the day, maybe my opinion or your opinion, nobody gives a fuck. Like maybe the guys who run that shit or Dim himself is like, oh fuck these guys, whatever. You were never gonna reach our level of business or income or whatnot. Good for you, mate. Live your
Yeah.
life. You do you. Nevertheless, we do live in a extremely free world, and everybody can say their opinion. So it was, yeah, I think it was like I do get the idea that you you know not apologizing for something and standing behind your opinion,
Hmm.
but sometimes I mean you win some, you lose some.
Yeah.
It's and I know that and because I know that there's somebody managing like the social media, I'm not sure if that person has the all clear from Dim himself, because I know at some point Dim was managing more or less everything, and then that thing became bigger than life, so you
Yeah.
have to hire some people basically to get their shit together. um it felt like it's not, it felt it just came from some random super neutral person who just, it was the first time he got involved into whatever, responding to things. Because it's like, if you want to, because I know that a lot of the people have romanticized, cowgirl and chilled cow, or like
Hmm.
all the stuff you bring in the community or whatever. But there's also like another side of the coin there. It's a business, and it's a
Yeah.
commercial business, and there's like a lot of money involved. So you gotta be a little bit more thoughtful, and maybe this would added more credit to your brand if you said, you know what, we're gonna do a fucking Asian compilation, and because we're like the pioneers of this fucking scene and everybody's looking at us, whatever, maybe we're gonna spend a little more time researching the fucking shit and then find people like you said, like with an Asian heritage, like with the
That's the word.
background, yeah, with the background that can add a little bit more value to what we're doing, and it's not just another lo-fi compilation. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because I'm pretty sure somebody can say that for the Pueblo Vista seasonal stuff. Like every other season, there's a compilation. So I take it. There's just another seasonal compilation. A lot of us do that. But going into this, I mean, I would have maybe put a couple of more hours of thought. If you
Yeah.
being in the center of attention.
Well, I think they could have positioned themselves, they are, I guess, right up there in terms of
Mm,
like, the goals for a lot of these like producers, such as like you and myself. Well, I don't really care about cowgirl much anymore. But anyway, there are people that see that as
yeah.
like the number one thing to release with. So
The,
they could have
yeah.
really positioned
Yeah.
themselves as kind of like, let's go out and really look into and discover new artists,
Yeah.
or maybe artists that people are familiar with as well as some unknown, and kind of bring
Yeah.
them together to create
Yeah.
something, and
Exactly.
listen to them and take in, maybe it's not necessarily an Asian compilation but more of a celebration of Asian culture.
Culture.
They
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, and did it that way. If it turned out that it was
Yeah.
just a boom bap compilation,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
great, but it's more focusing on that specific culture itself than just slapping a
Yeah.
label
Yeah.
on it and calling it a
Yeah.
day.
Yeah. I think what triggered people a lot more was basically the response. It wasn't
Yeah.
so much like for me oh, this is what we do because we're so cool, and this is like how people got inspired. Because of course, everybody, an average white male can be inspired by Asian heritage that much. Like, what do you know? But it's the response that kind of like make me like, come on, man, like you can do better than that. Don't be a fucking dick. Because
Yeah.
this was like such a dicky thing. Like if somebody said something about my spring compilation or your spring album, this would have been our response. And it would be like, yeah, because we don't know shit for shit. We're cunts.
Yeah.
This is how we respond. But not from you, bro. Like you have like a whole fucking scene behind you. Like, and like you said, there's fucking kids. There's upcoming artists that they don't know, you know, their dick from their asshole, and they think like, you know, Cowgirl is the shit. Like the pinnacle of lo-fi. Like if you release with them, it's good. I mean, this was like, how should I say? It was also like one of my my release goals in a way. Like at the time when I released those two tracks, like where's the best place to do that?
Mm-hmm.
Who's the best? It's them and it's Chill Hop. I know my shit in a million years would not be good enough for Chill Hop, and I'm happy for that. You know, the Chill Hop starts adding people like me on the roster, you know it's a problem. There's a problem for sure. But you know, for Chilled Cow is fine. So yeah, it's like it's just like you don't need to come across like, you know, fuck you guys, and that's that.
That's very much what it was.
Yeah, well, it was exactly what it was. I mean, there's also like the other thing, you know, because we're talking this like there's a lot of sides on that coin apparently. You know, Cowgirl, like I keep calling him Cowgirl. Yeah, Lo-Fi Girl. She's like he's the too big to fail kind of like organization, let's say. So there's not going to be like a major scandal or some lo-fi Monica Lewinsky that's gonna, you know, fucking impeach him or whatever the fuck, you know. But I'm pretty sure, like, you know, in a couple of weeks' time, nobody's gonna give a fuck about it. You know,
well, this is exactly what I was gonna say.
Yeah,
it's like essentially, if you look at the second post and all of the people that were complaining, they're all producers. We're all just shouting into this Lo-Fi Girl void, and those that actually can have some sort of an effect are the listeners, and they just don't care. They're just going to load up the YouTube channel or load up the playlist, click play, and then just go about what they were doing, whether it's sleeping, studying, whatever the fuck. They won't know any of this, and I think that's why they did most of this stuff on the Lo-Fi Records page rather than the Lo-Fi Girl page. Because everyone kicking up a stink isn't going to have an effect on their bottom line. It's not going to matter. I'm sure if I loaded up the YouTube channel now and had a look through the chat, nobody's going to be saying anything.
Nobody's giving a fuck, because it's like 95%, I would say, from his listeners are passive listeners. You know, they would just listen to streams and playlists, and that's that. Like, there's no engagement. There's no whatever. Like, you don't even know who the guy is at the end of the day. You know, he's like what is it, like a universal mystery man and whatnot. Like, nobody knows. I mean, I'm pretty sure his last name is not his actual last name. Is some guy. But yeah, whatever, you know, man, like, it's, you know, good for him. You do you. As I like to say a lot, you know, live your life. It is sad. It is sad. But I guess we live in a society nowadays where, like, you know, the information is like really fast and comes and goes. Yeah. So everybody's like really trying to, and that's like a good segue, I guess, for our next subject. It's everybody's trying to get somewhere like really fast, fast. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's definitely the infrastructure and to do that nowadays. Like, you know, get viral. Like, the whole viral thing became a word like 5, 6, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But nobody's like eager to bust their ass. Maybe that's just me. Like bitter old fucking grumpy man.
You're just
40
lazy.
Years old. Yeah. I think it has to do like with a lot of like laziness and also entitlement, in the sense of like, you know, shit happens and why don't I get some of that? Like, people think they deserve shit. Which, you know, it's not bad of it in itself, in the sense of like, if you want to be number one, you should think like number one. But I cannot even fathom how many people think like number ones, and usually That's not it.
Yeah.
But I think that's the main thing that I see, and whether we like it or not, like because we're still talking about our scene and the lo-fi stuff, or let's say the instrumental hip hoppy, chill hoppy, lo-fi stuff that we do.
Yeah.
Um, Lofi Girl provides you with a platform to go from 0 to 100, like within a couple of weeks. And
well, let's be real,
then
within it like a day.
Well, 100K streams. If we're talking about 100K streams, yeah, a day. It's a day. A million streams, a couple of weeks. So of course, like somebody might overnight think that their pee became too big, like big pee energy.
Big pee energy.
Yeah. So again, good for you, but that's not it, man.
No, and I think this is something that's always kind of frustrated me about some producers that have that kind of level of entitlement. The ones that would be posting on like Facebook groups or on stories saying stuff like, "Oh, Spotify need to pay me more. They need to do more to get my music out there. They need to be, they don't put me on editorial." And it's like, but what have you done to deserve? Just because you've put your music out on their platform doesn't mean that they then should bend over backwards to get that music out. That's for you to do. And this is something I always say is that like making music is like maybe 35% of what you should be doing in your musical career. You should be understanding
marketing. Especially nowadays. Especially nowadays.
It's like marketing, social media, creating something more than just the song, visuals around it, something that
your brand.
Yeah, exactly. Creating something that some people can instantly like recognize and know that it's your music, or it's if you're teasing a release or something and it has very specific symbolism, that will help when it comes out. Oh, I've seen that like 6 times on my feed. What is it? There was something on Twitter that some guy just kept posting his like album cover, and it was really weird. I think it was someone trying to shoplift, and they'd put some fruit down their like trousers, and it was just bulging up at their ankles. But all I kept seeing was.
I saw that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I saw it about 3 or 4 times, and it made me. I was like, okay, what is this? I keep seeing it, and that made me engage and look. And creating that sort of intrigue is another part of what people should be doing with their music. They shouldn't just be sending it to all the DSPs and then sitting back and being like, why am I not getting played? Well,
And the expectations that people have, like the expectations that I got, like from a lot of producers, and there's a lot of people that I talked to and a lot of people that released with me, that sometimes like, after I hang out with them, like I get like a random question on Instagram and I'm like, dude, like, what are you talking about? Like, I think I mentioned something like, I'm not going to say who it is out of respect for animosity. Like, there was like an EP we were supposed to release, and then that person's expectations, and I shit you not, I can send you the screenshot after this. It was like 10K per track per week for a month. Streams. And I'm like, excuse me? Like, I think, if you keep releasing with labels that, let's say, have some big playlists, we all know which labels these are, I think you're getting a little bit spoiled there, mate, in the sense of like, have you tried to release something on your own? See how your fucking organic reach goes? See how many streams you get from your fucking release radar? And then you have this expectation like the fucking label should just carry you there? Like, sure, somebody might argue and say, hey, Paul, you know what? Fuck you. Like, what do you give me for that 30%? What I give you, like, I don't know, I busted my ass for like X amount of years in the music business. And then I'm busting my ass another 5 years now to increase my Spotify engagement, to get like followers on the playlist, to spend fucking money. Who's gonna, like, if you're asking me, what do I give you for that 30% that I get? I can ask you, how much money of that 30 grand I paid for last year promoting the fucking playlists are you willing to give me? Like, I'm just, without picking and choosing and play favorites, I would just put your fucking track on the top of the list when it's released, and it's gonna stay there until another release comes. Because or I try to like, because we use the special algorithm, not you and me, make it like more random and more shuffly. But I feel like sometimes, like, is anybody asking me, like, what I want? Because it's like, I think, and I'm going to quote JFK here when he said, "Don't ask what your country can do for you. You need to ask yourself what you can do for your country."
Mm.
The same thing can be applied for the fucking music. Like, it's exactly what you said. Don't just like sit there and just wait and it's like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna go with let's see who's the top followers or whatever labels. Oh, it's Chill Beats, Chill Hop, Cowgirl, Kiwi Records, Pueblo Vista, Suck My Ass, whatever, whatever. You know, Lo-Fi Jazz Records, this and that. So I'm just gonna send all of them like a fucking thing, and then I'm gonna have demands. But if I end up going like in one of the bigger label in one of the labels with the bigger playlists, and immediately as soon as I release it, I get like fucking 1,000 streams overnight, then I have the same expectations from Aaron, from Paul, from whoever the fuck.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, mate, that's not it. Like, you come to me, I give you like a 99% organic whatever. You know, I'm gonna push the shit as much as I can. And then the only stuff that I'm gonna pay is for the promotion. But fucking keep your head level in the sense of like, enough with the fucking expectations. Like, there's people out there, musicians, like the people that, you know, we're in lo-fi. The people we are sampling, the people we sampled for so many years, like Marvin Gaye's, fucking the entire catalog of Blue Note Records, Motown, The Verve, like all these guys. These are, let's just say, you know, these are people of ethnicity that went through some crazy fucking shit in their lives.
Yeah.
100 years ago. You fucking sample them now, because for you it's like you go to YouTube, you're gonna rip the track, put it on your thing, and you have the expectation to blow up more than they do.
Mm.
Like, because for me, this is like an incredible amount of disrespect, not only to them, to the people like you know, that fed your brain to do whatever you want to do now.
Yeah.
You know, let alone using their own fucking music. I mean, I'm not saying that you should pay some sort of like homage or like part of your royalties should go somewhere if you make a track just because you're inspired about something, but keep your expectations. Like, I mean, I get it. It's 2021 and shit like that, and everybody's a little bit more sensitive and entitled and whatnot. But I mean, there's you know, there's logic and there's reason and there's common sense. Like, come on. I don't know. It just gets me riled up a little bit.
No, totally. I think that that's really like a really interesting, like, I guess, stance from you, because for me as a label owner, I'm very much the opposite, because, you know, it's not uncommon that we're new on the scene. We started up in April. We're just celebrating our 6 months, and, you know, we've kind of come from nowhere. And, you know, we put a lot of work into what we're doing. You know, we pitch the playlist, we work close with artists, we create assets and all that. And we feel like at this point, at least, that 30% that we're asking for, we need to do something to deserve that and to position ourselves as people that do that.
Yeah.
And like, I do understand where you're coming from. You know, you've put years of time and money into what you've created. And, you know, if that is what you feel like justifies that 30%, then that's great. Obviously, we can't sit there and do that and be like, well, we've put thousands of pounds into our playlist. I mean, at the most, we do maybe 40 to 50 pound a month at the minute until we grow a bit more. And
yeah, exactly.
But what we're kind of celebrating is that with the resources that are available to not us specifically, but to actually everybody, like our playlist cheat sheet, all of our releases have utilized that cheat sheet to get around about 5 to 10,000 streams in the first month for each of those releases. Some have completely shot through the roof. It entirely, you know, it's really interesting seeing how each song, even though we kind of work exactly the same, how they're received and how they go very differently to the different playlists that we pitch to and stuff like that. And yeah, it's, for us, we're kind of being like, yes, we can do this for you, but look at what you can do as well if you put the time in.
Exactly. Exactly. Like one of my slogans, and I think I've said it on Discord several times, like, fuck labels, fuck Pueblo Vista, fuck
Oh,
Paul, fuck everybody. Just do your shit, man.
I mean, if you go
Like,
onto Kiwi Records website and look at our blog, we literally have a post that's like, "Do you really need a label?"
no,
And
you don't.
no,
No. Labels should be like, especially nowadays, because it's not, and I think we touched a little bit on in the last Instacast that we did. I hope this term picks up actually. Um, it's that it's the labels that we're running now, not the labels with the traditional sense of like 50, 60 years ago. We don't, I mean, they were called record labels because back then when you say a record, it's a record. It's a
yeah,
vinyl record. Now, when I see like, like a digital label that you distribute, 99% digital, and you're like, suck my ass records.
yeah.
Where's the records, bro? Like, there's no records like this. Let's not kid ourselves. So
Hey, fuck you.
it's yeah, exactly. Like uh, we're here to help. We're here to most importantly like share knowledge. Like you said, cheat sheet, discussions, stay late at night, have a fucking Discord, connect fucking people.
Mm.
That's about it. Like at the end of the day. I mean, when I started the Discord first time, I think it was like maybe like 3-4 years ago, because everybody was like, "Oh, Paul, you should make a Discord." I was like, "What is that?" I've heard about it, but so I set something up. I think there was like initial invited, like, I don't know, 5, 6, 10 people, and it was fucking dead. It was it was more dry than a nun's pussy, actually. So
Fucking hell.
nothing was happening. I really like that one. It's a good job. Um, so yeah, and I'm very excited to see that nowadays. Like I would say maybe the last month or so, that no, there's like fuck. I get notifications like boom, boom, boom. Like you get this sound. I'm like, oh fuck, that's my Discord. Like people are talking. It's really cool. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like predominantly, it's like just you and me
Yeah.
exchanging pleasantries and call each other cunt. But other than that, I like to see that there's like actually people started like collabing and doing things like this. And I said to everybody, like, just because you meet somebody, because I had it like, oh, Paul, maybe you want to release the collab. I was like, dude, just because you connected with somebody in the Pueblo Vista Discord doesn't mean I got dibs or
Yeah.
whatever you do. You're a free man. Like you can do whatever the fuck you want. Like, go wild. So yeah, it's that's what like I think like a label should do nowadays. This is and this is something that you don't see from traditional labels out there. And yeah, I mean, especially you and very few others, because you know a little bit of the backstory of what's happening with me and Universal and stuff. Now
Yeah.
it's yeah, like it's these people like still live in the '60s for some reason. Like the only difference is like now they have internet, but the practice is still the same.
Yeah.
They just want to fuck you up.
That's the thing. I've
So
had discussions with producers that kind of, I guess, don't necessarily understand the difference between like, I guess, like Universal and Sony, and then like me and you. In a sense,
yeah,
we're just digital distributors. We're well, not
yeah,
necessarily you at the moment, but us, we're providing our artists with digital distribution agreements rather than like contracts, and they're not being signed in the traditional sense. We're
exactly.
offering, you know, like I've explained in other blog posts before, we're offering like that time to get your music
Yeah,
out, artist development, like we said in the last one.
yeah.
And it just makes me giggle when you just see some of these producers being like, "Oh, I've just been signed by this other label," and it's like, you haven't.
Oh yeah, I get like extremely cringe when I see people taking pictures of like contracts signed and posted on Instagram. I'm like, just it would make more sense if you post a picture of your dick. Really,
Yeah,
I would engage with that post. I will fucking like it. I will share it. I will cherish it. A picture of a contract signed doesn't mean two shits, man. Especially, and I'm gonna do a segue to what Normal said on the chat now, like about exclusivity. Like
hmm
never to go exclusive. with
No.
labels. Never, never, never. I mean, I'm happy enough to say that, and since you mentioned as well, like you offer like distribution deals. This is like the same that I do, in the sense of like I'm proud to say that I'm running this business without having signed any contracts with anybody. It's like the whole thing is based on trust,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And it hasn't failed me yet. But going exclusive, especially knowing the case from my good friend Normal, who's like one of the first guys that I actually I would say discovered in the lo-fi stuff, and I'm happy that I put the whole Pueblo Vista motto into action, in the sense of like use Pueblo Vista as a stepping stone to go somewhere else. And I love the way that this guy evolved, and because he's a producer from the Dominican Republic, and we're seeing like a few more others popping out from there, which is pretty cool. And after like a few releases with me, which I have to say publicly that that kid really busted my balls to get a release out. Like he would just fucking send me emails and messages on SoundCloud and hey bro, and what about this one? It took him, I think, and he's in the chat, like I think it took him at least like 3-4 different demos before I actually said yes. I mean, I'm pretty sure he takes it, but the first stuff that he would send me is like, it was like fucking shit. I mean, coming from me, who produces basic as fuck shit, his stuff was like more basic than mine. But the guy has just evolved so much in the past 4 or 5 years, and he did go exclusive. I'm not gonna say with who, but that's pretty easy for everybody to figure out. Yeah, never go exclusive. But this was also like something that I had to more or less battle with Universal, in the sense of like, because of course, if everybody wants you to have your exclusive, and not only that, they wanted to have like the artists that released to us exclusive as well. And I was like, you're I don't know, you're barking on the wrong tree. Like, no way. Like, this is not gonna happen. Like, no way.
I kind of feel like
Sorry
if that
about
happened, a lot of people would just kind of swear.
Yeah. Sorry about
And I
the
think
snotty sound, but it has that.
Give me a chance to actually get a word in. I think in these contracts or agreements or whatever that people are asked to sign, whether it's through like vinyl, digital, lo-fi, jazz, if they even do one, I don't know. I constantly keep getting rejected by them.
Oh yeah.
But you need to look at things specifically like the terms, because I would think it's a major red flag if a label is asking for,
exclusivity.
Well, not necessarily exclusivity, but the terms extend beyond 2 years. I think if we're being asked to give them 5 to 10 years of, I guess, exclusivity with that specific track, that's a bit of a that's a bit of a red flag for me. I think we do 12 months. Which rolls over continuously unless they give us notice. But again, because of all these horror stories that I've heard from other labels that don't let people out of their agreements or whatever, we're very much in the stance of, if in a month's time you're not happy with the results, you're not happy with how we're doing, and you just want rid, I'm not going to sit back and argue. I'm going to be like, okay, that kind of
exactly.
Is there anything we can do to help? And if there's nothing that we can do and they really just want gone, then okay, like, good luck.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Well, I think with time I did get a little bit more stiff with that stuff, in the sense of, if you want to take your music and go somewhere, let's go for it, man. Like if you expected to get like 10,000 streams in a week, and I gave you like 100, sure, I get it. I never promise to people anything. To give them anything. I said I have these couple of playlists. I throw some money at it. They have X amount of followers. I can share my screenshots. You can see how it goes. Like it's very very transparent, and me from Discord. Like it's sometimes I overshare things that maybe I shouldn't. But I don't give a fuck. Like it's I pride being like full disclosure with everything that I do. So. It has to be like that, in the sense of like you got to be open, but at the same time, I did maybe, having this sort of like trust basing, evolving around trust, could be like also like an interesting or dangerous kind of like thing. However, I never got fucked over by anybody. There has been like 2, 3 cases of people in this like past 4 or 5 years that, let's just say, I wouldn't say we fell off, but we just didn't agree,
Yeah.
with stuff. Yeah, I see the chat as well. Like those initials. Yeah, I know exactly. I know exactly. Um, Actually, another guy, what's his name? Jake McCall was with them, with what's going on in the chat now, and his contract I think expired like last week, and he made like a huge post on Instagram. I'm really happy for that guy because
Yeah.
he was going somewhere, but unfortunately, due to the contract and stuff, he had to bury that alias. Anyway, to what you were saying, like yeah, I think like a small year, a small duration is great. However, what I can also say, like as a devil's advocate, most of these guys, these labels, they ask for exclusivity on the titles.
Yeah.
So for me, when I started out and I was working like really close with Francesco, I Have a Face. We were like, let's burn a couple of tracks. Fuck it, I don't care. I can make another 10. You want to keep that for like 20 years? It's, shove it up your ass. Keep it, whatever. I can make another 20 and keep it for me. So I wouldn't say like it's when it comes to like artist exclusivity. This is like everybody's saying in the chat as well. Like it's a no-no. It's a big no-no.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you really have to do one, or you feel like it's okay, it shouldn't be more than a couple of years.
Yeah.
But if it's more than that, and again, like we're talking about different, you never know, people's backgrounds or what they want to do or whatever, the priorities in life. I would say always ask for money. You want me exclusive for 5 years? Pay up.
Yeah.
Pay up. That's it. Because it's like as if you're asking me to eat fucking pasta for the next 5 years every day. I don't mind, but I need some sort of compensation.
Yeah.
It is what it is. And since we're talking about, commercial businesses and music and whatever, you motherfuckers need to pay up. Like, you want me to stay in your label for 5 years exclusive, and I only exclusively release with you, nobody else? I need, and don't be shy, I need 50K, I need 60K. It's like they're renting a human.
Yeah.
How much do you value your own fucking life? If you be okay with 10 grand for 5 years, you do you, man.
Yeah.
Your life.
I think
I wouldn't
a
be
lot of
happy
it is
with
fair
that.
though, because
Yeah.
these producers feel like they, and I myself would be exactly the same. If a big label was like, yeah, here you go, sign this, you can release with us, I'd be like, oh shit, like I don't want to fuck this up.
Exactly.
But then I kind of think where the position that they're in at that specific moment, yes, this label has said like, yeah, we want to release with you and have X amount of exclusivity from you. At that point, that moment in life, nothing's changed just yet. So
Yeah.
if you go to them and be like, yes, I will, but I want 15 grand, 20 grand or whatever, and they're like, no, piss off. Well, worse off. You've just had someone say no.
Exactly. And this also shows the amount of commitment from their end, because they're asking you to commit your fucking time as a musician, as a human, as whatever. But as soon as they have to commit, which the easiest way you can, have like, let's say, a commercial entity commit to you, or like a music label or record label for that matter, it's monetary commitment. Simple as that.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing that, is like another fork in the road in this, like, sort of like, let's call it signing bonus, is whether you're going to go with a recoupable one or an unrecoupable one. I would suggest, and what I've done in the past, for unrecoupable ones, like in the sense of like, you want to rent me, you need to pay up, and it has to be unrecoupable. Of course, like maybe some people can do it easier than others, in the sense of like, if somebody comes to me and I can say I want XYZ unrecoupable because I have the following, I have the engagement, like there is like something to the name, to the artist name.
Yeah.
If somebody else is like a newcomer, and we've seen that happen like several times, XYZ label would approach them, be like, "Oh, come with us, 5 years exclusive." And I'm pretty sure in the chat everybody knows what label are we talking about. But yeah. Um, and they're like, "Oh my God," it's like, "Wow, it's them!" Like, "Fuck yeah!" And then you join, and then nothing happens.
Yeah.
You're like, but, yeah, yeah. But it's exactly what you said. If you ask for money and then they say no, then yeah, somebody said no to you. Like you hear no every fucking day in your life. Like that
90%
shouldn't
of the
make
time.
you exactly. Like my fucking kid says no more times than she says yes. So it's okay, you know. It's okay.
Learning from the best.
Nothing's wrong with it. Yeah, exactly. And you know, no means no, of course. We need to pass that, you know, social message there, like subtly.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not a big of a thing. Like that should be like the takeaway. Like don't go exclusive with labels. Don't sign exclusive agreements. Or even if you do, they have to evolve around a very small amount of time, with or without a compensation, preferably with one. And then if it's an exclusivity, it should be evolving around titles and not you as the artist or as the person and whatever.
Yeah.
I think back in the day there was also like an old school advice, like when you sign like exclusive stuff, you should never like use your full name, but use your artist name or some shit. So because there has been people in the past who, you know, because some corporate owned their names or put their names on paper, they got fucked. I mean, the most I think famous case that is not related with music is Bob Ross, you know, the Afro painter guy who.
Yeah.
He lost his name, and in continuation of that, like this spilled over to, you know, his son could not use his name, his last name, to start his own, you know, painting company or like whatever company. Actually, so like there was the reason I mentioned that is like it fits, of course, the example is like I also saw there's a Netflix documentary about it as well. It's pretty cool. I was like, oh, because I've heard about it, but I didn't really know the insides of the whole thing. So I was like, yeah, okay, but yeah. That's a little bit of like an old school advice from an old dog like me, you know.
Yeah. Also, ask questions.
Yeah.
And if you receive an agreement or a contract that you're not sure about, look at other artists on the label. If you're friendly with them, just hit them up. Be like, hey, how is it? You know, I don't understand this. Or just, you know, like you said, there's so many different places that you can go to, like Discord channels and things where you can be like, hey, can someone help me with this? And, you know, for the most part, the community can be super friendly, super helpful. And, you know, there are some great people out there that will be like, yeah, let me take a look and help you. And I think that's the biggest thing. Like, you're not alone in all of this. Like, you can just go to people, or if, you know, just pop something out on Instagram or be like, can someone help me with this? I don't know what it means. Because
I mean, chances are somebody knows a lawyer or something at the end of the day if you want to go for that more professional advice, you know. But
I mean, these contracts are worded so bizarrely anyway. Like any contract, whether it's like a rent agreement or something, it's just got all of these fucking words that mean nothing.
Exactly, it's just like words, and then most of the times they're so surgically and vaguely put.
Yeah.
That there's like such a tremendous amount of interpretation behind it. Of course, this kind of like serves the purpose from, you know, the person who serves you the contract, but it can work, you know, that's like a two-way street. And I saw that recently, something that happened with me and my friends, you know, where that it was like, oh, I was told something, I was promised something verbally and in a WhatsApp message, and then when I asked for it, they were like, "Oh, but I interpreted like something else." I was like, and I said, to the person, like, if you want, we can, you know, sit down and have a glass of wine and come up with like a lot of different interpretations about it. This could be like fucking Inception for all I care.
Yeah.
You know, this can go like many ways. However, where I come from, men wear pants. When we shake hands, and my word means something.
Yeah.
So if you want to play there's no written evidence about it, go suck a dick.
Yeah.
Like
But then
honestly,
that's
like
a good thing, is always work over email when you're agreeing
yes,
with
yeah. The
specifics.
moment, yeah, this is also like another tip that I've seen like that I experienced. Like the moment, like if you're talking like heavy shit with a person or like a label or whatnot, and they're like, "Oh, do you want to switch over the phone or let's just have a call?" It's usually something fishy happening there. Like I do it all the time in the sense of like I cannot fucking type shit all day long, Like somebody hits me up on Messenger and it's like, so what does Pueblo Vista offer? And I'm like, well, first of all, there's this huge document that I'm happy
Yeah.
to send you. But then they're like, I will jump on a call if I want to explain stuff, and then I'll happily make like an MOU for you, like a
Hmm.
memorandum of understanding or whatever the fuck, like meeting notes or some shit. But if you're like in a, like a tough discussion, and then somebody wants to switch the platform to go more verbal than written, then usually you're like, no, it's okay. You can say, yeah, no, just take your time, write up long ass emails. I love reading emails, man.
Yeah. But
Go
just, yeah. I think as well, the advice there, if you do have one of those awkward, difficult calls, always confirm afterwards in email. Just that
yeah,
cliche,
yeah,
oh, thanks for the call, great chatting with you. Just wanted to confirm that this is what was said. And then
yeah,
there you go.
exactly.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, bingo.
definitely email everything when it comes to asking questions and receiving answers, because
Yeah,
messages can be deleted, voice calls, unless you're recording them and everyone's conscious of that. Yeah, they can, things can be said that will never come into fruition.
yeah, exactly. If it's like important things, better have them in written because it is something you can look for and whatever, and then you avoid a lot of pain, sweat, and tears of he said, she said, but you promised, but whatever, but whatever. Especially when discussions like this happen with older white men, you're like I
Oh,
tend to,
that's very specific.
yeah, it is. Like I tend to respect people that are older than me, especially when it's like closer to a decade or so. Um, so when I see people like these, like men, maybe you can call me a chauvinist or like a patriarch or whatever the fuck, but I'm old school and I'm Greek, so fuck you. Um, it's like I fucking cringe, like in the sense of like I keep thinking like, don't you have any balls? Like, where are your balls, man? Where are your balls? Like, we say something, we agree on it, we shake hands, and then you go play the fucking teenage girl kind of thing, like, oh, I'm sorry. No, that shit don't work. Go fuck
Yeah.
off. But anyway, yeah, we have an interesting. I think we can make like a little break in the sense of like we have an interesting question in the chat, or let's say our friend Lofi. Lofi is he's interested in hearing our take on art and the influence it has on lo-fi. So I've been talking a lot, and I need to rest my voice a little bit. So
Oh,
if you
you're
don't
just
mind,
going to
take it
throw me
away.
under the bus.
Oh yeah, well, I'm throwing your curveball here. That's what I'm throwing.
I think it's difficult. It's a difficult question to answer. For me
Mhm.
personally, I do as much as I can to kind of avoid that aesthetic that has kind of been created around like lo-fi. That kind of going back to the first discussion, that like
The
anime
Asian
or
stuff,
yeah,
Asian
the
looking stuff.
Asian stuff. And I did at the very beginning
Yeah, of
found
course.
some like Asian-y type gifs, but
Yeah.
I've always kind of felt kind of left field in this genre. I make
Mm.
weird music. I mean, my earlier stuff's definitely quite more experimental, and I've kind of more folded into that, I guess, what you could call like traditional, I guess, more chill hoppy stuff. And
Mhm.
I've kind of felt that my sound and that specific like lo-fi aesthetic have never really matched well. So I've always looked at
That's stuff. Yeah.
different things to kind of put that out there. In terms of everyone else, like it works. You've got people like Mono-Fi and Lo-Fi Nikes that do
Yeah.
and Paletism that do great
Yeah.
pairing the two. and you know, that traditional kind of anime lo-fi,
Yeah.
it goes hand in hand. But at the same time, there's only so many times you can see, you know, clips of Studio Ghibli or Cowboy
Yeah.
Bebop and hear
Yeah.
the same, not even the same, the sort of 4/4 beat in every lo-fi song and like a saxophone. I mean, the way I'm kind of talking is like I hate chill hop and hate lo-fi hip hop, and like I don't.
We all do. We all do, man. We all do.
I've kind of realized these past couple of years of making music that it has really taken over everything. Like my release radar is just full of lo-fi, and I'm just looking at it like I don't want to listen to this today.
Yeah,
Like
that shit.
I go down the list and find, you know, the artist, and this is something that I've always found within like lo-fi. Like you said, it moves so fucking quickly. Like
Yeah.
people release week after week after week, and it's just so tiresome. Like
It is.
look at like Kanye and Drake. They're dropping albums that they haven't done anything for like 10 years, and everyone's excited about it. But you go to lo-fi, you can look at one artist and see that he's had 6 releases in the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, that's the issue there is like it's relatability in the sense of like in lo-fi, you know, if you don't drop anything in a month, you're fucking irrelevant. That's it. And then especially to go back to the other subject we were talking before about, my favorite thing, lo-fi elevators, as I like to call them. These motherfuckers don't release for a couple of months. So, you know, the releases get old. So they're not featured in the playlist of the labels that they released to. And then, like, you go from 50,000 monthly listeners to like 500.
Yeah.
And then after a month or two, you just, you know, start dropping. And then I think this is like, it has the same effect with crack cocaine. You just get addicted. You just you get addicted to the fucking numbers, and you just need to keep releasing and keep releasing with them. Otherwise, your numbers is going to, as if every time the number drops, your dick gets smaller. Your dick is the same, man. Whether you have like 100,000 followers or listeners or like 10.
Yeah.
It's going to be the same. Maybe not your dick. Maybe, you know, maybe that's not a good analogy. Let's say, because I talk about dicks all the time. Maybe your hands, you think your hands becoming shorter. Yeah, just love it. I'm a cunt. I love dick. What can I say? So, yeah, it sucks. But, you know, getting back to on the art stuff, I definitely agree with you.
It does play an important part. You know, like we're saying at in the beginning, creating art around your work or some sort of visual thing is part of that process. And I feel like art can be used as inspiration as well. You know, if you like a specific painting, you know, I love Edward Hopper, but I don't think if I could really work with that kind of Americanism type art style. But I mean, I wouldn't mind trying. You know, Nighthawks is a perfect representation of lo-fi, just people in a coffee shop. You know, so more about original illustrations.
Yeah, I think he's like, we're in the same level with lo-fi. Yeah.
I think
original
on that specific topic, like creating original stuff as well is yeah. So I was reading that comment.
Marco, get fucked, Marco. Like he's probably woke up from his slumber now. He's like, I'm just gonna join the chat.
Yeah.
But did we talk about Jay-Z though? No, we just said
I said
Kanye and Drake.
Yeah. Get it right.
Yeah, so get that wax off your ears, Marco.
Yeah.
Marco is German, by the way. He's already featured on Jeezy Vibes.
Ooh. Do you know what?
So if you know a German, grab a German. If you know Germans, grab it.
This week was insane for editorial features.
Dude, this week's was like fucking the Bundesliga, the Lo-Fi Bundesliga was like really hitting it hard on the playlist. Like there was no other fucking liga, only the Bundesliga kicking it.
Yeah.
No, it's I think to close the thing with artwork and stuff. I definitely agree with you, like in the sense of like coming something like you need to create a brand. That's very important. And whether we like it or not, you know, in this genre particularly, visuals are the key. And there's sort of like anime theme thing that guilty as charged. Everybody, all of us did it in the beginning, whatever. But in the greater concept of trying shit out, you throw shit on a wall, you see what sticks.
Yeah.
And eventually, like you said, you went a little bit more. You're a little bit more deviant with your stuff. Me, the same. Like even that, I really embraced it in the beginning, not only in the covers, and not so much with original, but mainly because it's virtually impossible to create or curate covers for all these releases. But I would go with submissions or commissions basically, and I would use a lot of this sort of like anime theme because it's the easy thing to do. But then, for example, for my own personal brand, when it comes to the label or me as an artist, all the stuff, the graphics that I did, the illustrations that I did, are actually mine.
Okay.
So I did like a mass rebranding of our playlists, for example, which is like artworks that I did here and there, especially on my website, and then I started tweaking the colors and kind of like adjusting them. But it is very important. I mean, not everybody could be as lucky as me, would be also like a graphic designer and do their own shit. But it's something that somebody should definitely focus on. And, if you want to do something that's going to help you stand out, the other problem that I see is like there's these like 3, 4, 5 illustrators that done graphic work for Lofi Girl or whoever. So you see a cover or you see somebody's profile picture, you know exactly who did it. And this is like also like for me, like I was thinking about commissioning one of these guys or some of these guys, and I'm like, but everybody has it, there's no uniqueness there. Like that would be a good exclusivity deal you should do with an artist if you're a label, with a visual artist, to say, hey man, for the next year, I'm the only guy who you're gonna do, graphic work for or whatever, or I want you to exclusively do our compilations or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hope we answered Lo-Fi's query.
We tried.
Yeah, we tried. We're cunts. Don't listen to us. Yeah. What else? What else do we have? Do we have any other juicy subjects?
I think
anything on your notes there?
No, I ended up not making any. I got high and went to sleep instead.
Nah, it's really cool. Like, no, it's like for me, it was like a couple of weeks of like, I just got several times I got into this sort of like fucking rant mode with producers with high expectations, or another thing that also kind of like triggers me a little bit. I wouldn't say in a positive or negative way. It just triggers me. Is like you release with let's say a big label with a big playlist, and then after a week you hit your first million monthly listening, right? And then people are like, thanks to my fans for listening. Like,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I'm like, mate, you don't have any fans. Like I meet, like, the first couple of times that I've seen posts like this, I just went open up Spotify, because Spotify is the only platform that actually has numbers other than Deezer, for example. I went on Spotify, right click, go to the profile info, whatever, see, and like, 150 followers. I'm like, it's not your fans. You know what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what it is. No, just delete the post, man. Don't be a dick. Come on.
Don't be that guy.
Like, really? Like, your fans? You're thanking your fans for listening? I mean, I thank my fans. Thanks, Mom.
Yeah.
Come on. And yeah. I have engaged with a couple of people, when it's like super late at night, you want to go to sleep, and I see a post like that, and I'm like, dude, I'm not being negative on anything. Like, I just chatted them up, and I'm like, hey, just be careful. Be careful with who you release, in the sense of like, it's not doing you any good. You can be humble about it.
Yeah.
When I hit my first million monthly listeners, or million on a track or whatever, I didn't really post it. Like, I post, and this is like, a lot of people know that already, like the only time that I would post numbers is like, I would say once a year, every time the what is it on Christmas when Spotify comes up with the numbers.
Yeah,
That's it. Like you don't really want to do anything else, like, because it's not that this is some sort of like a secret number that nobody can see. It's
yeah.
public, so it's okay. We can see that. I mean, we're all lo-fi producers. We creep up on other people's profiles. We swear at them like, "Fuck this guy. You got a million, fucker," and blah blah. So it's okay. You know,
So
you don't have to rub it to our
for
face.
those that post like, oh, thanks to all my fans for the million, it's like,
Uh,
all right, so post the bar chart that's the source of streams and see how many of those are from your profile and catalog.
yep, exactly,
Oh wait,
exactly,
99% of the listeners' playlists.
exactly,
Man.
exactly. Yeah. So
Oh, we sound like some
don't.
bitter old man.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's. I don't think it's like bitterness or whatever, because in no way, shape, or form. First of all, and I think I speak for both of us. We're not fucking jealous. We have better things in our lives than fucking numbers on Spotify and participating in pissing contests and measuring our dicks whenever we have like free time.
Yeah.
Like there's more to life than just fucking Spotify numbers. And if there weren't, like for example, does anybody flex about fucking Apple? No, because Apple doesn't have numbers. Or even better, does anybody flex about Deezer? I got like fucking 500 followers on Deezer as an artist. Suck my dick.
I have one.
Who's got
I
more?
think it's me.
Yeah, exactly. Who's got? I must be like one of the head honchos of fucking lo-fi on Deezer, man. Like, who has 500 followers on Deezer?
I mean, there's so many untapped DSPs as well.
Yeah. So, it's how should I say, like doing that kind of thing 5-6 years ago when it was only like philanthrope or idealism or Saib or all these, like, I wouldn't call them, like, you can say OGs, for example, the first guys who actually did it, or Swoom for that matter, or maybe Swoom's robot, because I'm pretty sure that guy is fucking cloned. Like the way he likes comments and stuff on Twitter and Instagram, it's robotic. But yeah, these guys, like, posting something like that, which was something like I considered it like a breakthrough event for the genre. Which one of instrumental hip? Who would have thought instrumental music would just hit these numbers like 5 years ago? And now it just became this sort of like huge bandwagon that fucking Will Smith did like a fucking live stream and all that. Like everybody's trying to squeeze the life out of it. Or like, what was that joke, that the Pepsi live stream with the like average white person rapping over lame ass about drinking Pepsi?
Yeah, I remember that.
Is that fucking thing still on, actually?
No,
or did
they
they?
It was like a week thing. It was a week-long campaign they did. I tried to catch in on it by creating a playlist that was
my god,
lo-fi to sip Pepsi to. But I from that actually I learned a lot about Spotify's weird like SEO and algorithm. They don't like brand names in playlists.
Yeah, they never did.
So I rebranded the lo-fi to sip Pepsi to just to like upbeat lo-fi vibes, and that just shot through. I had one that was like sad, and I was trying to make it a bit edgy, like goth edgy, like lo-fi for the afterlife. They did not like that. Did not like that at all. So I just changed that to like sad vibes to cry to or something, and again that just shot up. It was really
that's nice.
Yeah, it was just really interesting to see how I guess they blacklist words.
They definitely blacklisted Pueblo Vista then. Fuck yeah. No, I really don't know what's happening there, in the sense of like I was trying to, I know, I was thinking of like every now and then I'm just like thinking about stuff, maybe too much. And I was thinking of, speaking of Marco before popping up and saying all that shit about the Bundesliga, it seems like, oh, yeah, there's one unpopular opinion, right?
Right.
Everybody's talking shit about, lo-fi girl appropriating the Chinese or Asian culture and blah and blah and this and that and all this white male or whatever. producers, what about the fact that all the curators on Apple Music and Spotify are white Germans?
Are they?
Yes.
Well, that says a lot.
why isn't anybody talking about that? Because it's on,
I think my reaction answers that question because nobody knows.
And it seems like there's a lot of people who, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people who don't know that. I mean, I'm pretty sure the people who I'm close to know. I mean, I don't think we discussed about that as well. So there's a revelation for you.
Wow.
So yeah, the main curators on the main playlist are white Germans.
Who are they?
What about that?
To judge our lo-fi hip hop beats?
Exactly. And all of us cunts throw our dicks and our dick comments and our shitty opinions to fucking Lofi Girl and to dust collectors and and to whoever, while at the same time, the people who actually make us fight one another are the curators on these playlists.
Mm.
So there's my opinion about that. So nobody's talking about that. But yeah, I mean, you go into fucking websites like Chartmetric, you see the usual suspect labels there every now and then, like, fucking hogging the playlist.
Yeah.
And to connect it with what I was saying before, like, I think that the reason that maybe I don't get playlisted is either that my label name is like pretty weird because I have this squiggly hieroglyphic kind of crap stuff that nobody can actually search for it. But if you really wanted to feature something from the label, you can follow the profile. There's the releases. It's not that difficult, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But then I was I saw a major turn after the dust collector scandal thing that happened, with that Photoshop thing. Because I was pretty vocal about it in the sense of like, I didn't talk shit to anybody. I just, went on Twitter like every other sensible monkey did.
Yep.
And said, yeah, man, that was a pretty shitty thing you guys did. like why, But I was very, very direct. And yeah, I guess the people that I never really understood how, they were, at the time, they were hogging a lot of the beats instrumentals and a lot of the bedtime beats playlists. Yeah. And the guy that was curating them at the moment, I mean, he was pretty vocal about it as well on his Twitter and his Instagram. Like he would say, the Apple hip hop curator guy. I'm not gonna say his name.
No, that.
But
like,
yeah. But yeah, like it's like at the end of the day, I personally don't give a fuck. He may or may not hear about this, Instacast that we do. Somebody might tell him or whatever, but I still don't give a fuck. I publicly call him out, and he can we can have him on an Instacast and just tell us about his alleged nepotism there. So
you're throwing that out there.
Yeah, I'm just throwing that out there. There's like a lot of goodwill people anyway. If somebody knows them, they can let them know, whatever. But yeah, that's definitely an unpopular opinion, or maybe like an unknown opinion. Like, why isn't anybody talking about that? Like, I always had beef, like when somebody said, "Oh," because I get a little bit.
Oh no, you're back. There you go.
Somebody's listening to us.
Yeah, I was going to say, did you freeze or did I?
They try to take us down, man. Anyway, you heard it first.
I'm just sitting here awkwardly like, oh no.
Yeah, I was like, what? I was like, did we just get canceled?
Yes. People have just been reporting the.
Yeah, boom. People reporting alive. What was I saying? Yeah, I how should I say? my eyebrow raises a little. I raise my eyebrow a little bit every time I read that all these lo-fi labels are white owned. Yeah. What about, why isn't anybody talking about curation? Curation is also white owned, white German owned. I mean, nothing against Germans. I have a lot of good German friends.
I'm glad that you jumped in with that, because at this point it was kind of it was really starting to go towards like an anti-German thing.
Saved. No. It's definitely not anti-German. It's just like, it's just facts. I mean, it is what it is. But why isn't anybody talking about that? Because, we don't really know who's, curating this and curating that and whatever. So yeah, we don't care. Because at the end of the day,
no, we've lost him again. Oh, there you go, you're back.
Reports are going in fast.
Yeah.
So,
is it your connection or is it mine? Or are we genuinely getting cancelled right now?
I don't know. Oh, what is it like? We got, tape deck collectors in the chat. Shout out. Yeah, a lot from Germany at this point. Yeah, no. It's pretty funky. Like, I think that this is like part of the whole, sharing information and sharing, like, being more educational about what we do as artists, as labels, or whatever. Like, it's not just Spotify. It's not just editorial playlist. There's there's a lot to it. There's a lot to it. Like, it's just the same that labels are not the same traditional labels with 50, 60 years ago. The same thing applies to artists. You need to be more artistic as an artist and not just say, I'll just make my beats and then I'll just send it and then you need to, like, no, I don't have to. Nobody has to do shit, man. If you don't even have to make music for all I care. I mean, go to fucking Fiverr. Somebody else can do it for you. It's as easy as that. But
you cracked the Da Vinci Code.
but I mean, come on. It's like.
I've just said enough. Firefly Entertainment.
Firefly Entertainment. Oh, let's see. Speaking of curated Spotify in partnership with the company. Oh, there we go. Firefly.
I don't know whether you saw on Twitter that someone, I think it was Sheep, he found who was one of the ghost producers.
Sheep. Luke found one of the producer actually, and he went on like a casual. So I think it started off as like a low-key interrogation / burn, and then it just became banter. It was just banter.
Yeah.
Like, the guy was like, fuck yeah, I make beats for them. Like, I get paid. And Luke was like, I don't get it. Like, what's there to get, man? Like, it's the deal is like very easy in the sense of like, let's like clear the myth in a way. These guys get offered a fixed sum to produce X amount of checks. And that's it. They don't get any royalties. They don't get shit. It's basically, hey, Aaron, can you make us 10 tracks for 10K? Here you go.
The Da Vinci Code.
Yeah, the Da Vinci. Yeah, exactly. It's Da Vinci. It's Da Vinci. So that's it. That's it. Like, it's as simple as that. So it's business, and I'm pretty sure that even though a lot of people say, Spotify is flooding their thing with fake artists, whatever, motherfucker, Firefly comes to you in your DMs and gives you like 10 grand for 10 tracks, you'll fucking do them like within like a night.
Yeah.
You'll do it.
I don't know whether you saw Pure Noise Records. They did a bunch of lo-fi tracks. They got 2 producers to essentially remake like classic emo tracks from their label.
Oh, isn't this what Lo-Fi Fruit does as well? Like they do covers.
But they essentially did that. They got these 2 producers to redo
different
like
genre.
Heights and Real Friends and stuff. I think it was quite good, especially if like old school emo. But I was like, they could have asked me.
Yeah, I mean, don't go that far. There's another thing that is also related with Universal is part of the deal that, let's say, we have is that all the other major labels under Universal's management, let's say, like, Blue Note Records, The Verve, Decca, all these big guys, there's a potential of them, like, opening up their catalog and assigning stuff to us to do. What I can definitely share with, the class is that we have a couple of bossa nova remixes that we did for The Verve, and major public shout out to Matchbox Youth for doing them. Like, it was a little bit like an internal contest. He won. That's it. Milan got it right. It's this Lowtown thing that came up. Like, I think I shared it on, on Discord as well. It's this one guy. It just gave that one producer 10 tracks to flip. I mean, it's not that bad. I personally like the one with Marvin Gaye more than anything else. This is because I also included it on my playlist. But that's it. Now, the business decision behind it, I didn't really understand. And my question was that, why wouldn't you, because I think, to my understanding, this was something that came from Universal Music US, which is independent from, Austria or whatever. Why wouldn't you team up with an artist or like a group of artists with, real followers and real engagement and to deliver, let's say, the same compilation, instead of like just going to that guy who's like, I think he has like pretty good credentials because I Googled him up and looked him up, but there's no artist profile. Like this, it's nothing. Like, it feels like, let's just do something because it's lo-fi or whatever. I mean, it's not even lo-fi. To me personally, it reminded me that up-tempo instrumental stuff that Casey Neistat used to use on his vlogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that shit is not lo-fi. There are, but and I'm like, okay, welcome to the lo-fi wars. Oh yeah, or you can, do a little bit of research on the music you're trying to appropriate.
Oh, fucking hell.
So I mean, there's definitely, I'm really curious on the development of the whole scene. I think there's times that I wake up and I'm thinking that this goes to shit. Is going to go to shit really fast with this year. And there's some other times that I wake up and I'm like, I still have faith, Things are, going to work out. Things are going to go okay. Like, there's not going to be fucking drama. There's not going to be beef. Everybody's going to be happy. Because at the end of the day, like, I'm not, we talked about the whole lo-fi thing and the appropriation of cultures and stuff like that. But I would say that music would be the last place that I could imagine racism to exist in any form, because like I said at the beginning, for me, it's like, it don't care if you're black, you're white, you're purple, you're pink, you have a vagina, you have a penis, you have something else, whatever. If the music is good, or let's say if it fits my personal taste, because at the end of the day, as label owners, it's personal taste. It's nothing against anybody's music. We'll put it out. We'll put it on our playlists. We'll listen to it. We'll share it with our friends, like whatever. So even though I do understand that it's a major topic and that it should have been handled more carefully, especially, from, coming from an entity like Lofi Girl, I also feel like it's like, is this the world? Is this what the world has come to? Like, finding problems, like, everywhere, like really actively looking for issues, if you know what I mean. Like, it's, like,
I mean, that's become evident from this whole pandemic. And even more recently with that law that was passed in Texas. Like, it's become very obvious that people like to go out and find things to complain about. whether
Yeah,
it's not
yeah,
wearing masks, whether it's a vaccine, whether someone should have a choice over their body.
yeah,
People are actively waking up in the morning and being like, you know what, today I'm going to go to the store and just kick up a stink because why not?
yeah. You just wake up one day, you choose violence. That's it.
Exactly. So I think
Yeah,
whatever industry you're in, I guess, whether it's music, whether it's, you know, steel forging, there's always going to be someone that wants to make a complaint about something or moan about something or create issues around something. And
yeah,
like you said, with Lofi Girl being so big, they're always going to be put
yeah,
under the microscope. And I raised a point on Twitter that there was another label that did a specifically Japanese Asian compilation weeks prior that nobody said anything about, and that was with
yeah.
two pretty big players within the scene.
I
And
think I know what you're referring to. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah,
nobody's kicked up a funk about that.
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
And that, in a way, that was done exactly the same. Discord opened up
Yes. Yeah, yeah,
saying,
yeah.
I mean, I
I
even
think.
sent a track in that didn't make it, but
Yeah,
and now
I
that
think there
track is
was.
definitely not getting released. Put that shit in the bin.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think there was no what is it? There wasn't a trigger. That's
Yeah,
why, for example, like the trigger with Lofi Girl was the post on the
yeah,
Lofi Records Instagram page, and then the secondary trigger, the nail that drove was driven in the coffin was
yeah,
the comeback, the the
yeah.
the that very glorified fuck off.
But I mean, it won't matter. Even I
Yeah,
guess within
exactly.
the producer scene, people still
Yeah,
are actively releasing with Dust Collectors now. People will actively still continue to release
yeah,
with
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Lo-Fi
No,
Girl.
at the end of the day, also like for dust collectors, like good for them. I think in a way they turned around the tide in a way.
Mm.
Shout out to them for growing this like huge playlist also like on Spotify. Um, but it doesn't, it's not as glamorous as it was a couple of
No,
years ago. Because I think a couple of years ago, honestly, if that whole shit show did not happen on Twitter, I think they could have been dominating right now, along with
yeah,
Lofi Girl. They would have been easily the number two. And to me, it kind of like started to become apparent that they would blow up the moment that chill hop music started acknowledging them in the sense of like like they would respond to their tweets and shit like that.
yeah,
And for somebody like Boss, the guy who owns chill hop, to kind of like do that because he still manages the social media on Twitter. He's like pretty active on that. I was like, wow, interesting. Why didn't you acknowledge me, man? So yeah, yeah, but I guess they missed their chance, sadly. But everything happens for a reason. Yes.
yeah.
uh, anyway, no, it's good. Yeah, no, I don't feel like talking about a good subject would be distributors, but I think we can leave that for
That's it.
that's for the next
I guess to kind of sum up
Sunday
though,
roast.
like, yeah,
It's a
this whole like being like so heavily involved within this particular scene, I've kind of
yeah,
realized how, I guess for lack of a better word, fake everything is.
yeah, yeah,
Um, like you said, you've got the elevator where people can get 1 million streams in a week just by releasing with one
yeah,
label. You have, as Eleven mentioned in the chat, Instagram verification. Um, it's not all as glamorous as it is made out to be. As some of us may know, the Instagram verification
Oh, oh,
is
oh.
it
We
is
can we
a
can go into that. That could be quick. Yeah, yeah. Like I mean, I think I can kick it off. I can sum it up at the same time. Um, it used to mean something.
Yeah. Well, yes, it used to mean something before I got it.
Yeah, yeah. It now it's just like it used to mean something. This was like my first impression. I think a couple of weeks after I got it, because I saw like a bunch of people getting it, and I'm pretty sure we all know who's been passing those verified badges.
Yeah.
Which is like a segue for the next Sunday roast, I guess. In any case, I mean, mine, I was pretty chill when because I was asking for it, and then I started like rubbing shoulders with the Universal guys, and then I said, you know, you guys can get it from me because I applied like 5 times.
Yeah.
Nothing happened. So
Dirty
that's also
bastard.
my opinion about the blue, the verified badge. So then after I seen everybody like getting, I was like, oh shit, it used to mean something.
Yeah.
Now I just see it means to an end in the sense of like swipe ups, which is kind of like cool if you have audience other than producers,
Yeah.
you know, people that are generally interested, because we know that other producers are not going to swipe up because like fuck you and your releases, Paul. Like I don't want to check that shit out. And the other most important thing is, for example, this we can do a live more than 60 minutes, which is, I think this is like really cool in the sense of like that's means to an end at the end of the day.
I mean, in a way, it serves its original purpose, and it's to verify that the person you're looking at is legit. You know, you know that if you see the blue tick on me and I'm posting something calling someone a cunt, you know that it's actually me saying it and not someone pretending to be me. The features that come along with it are kind of lackluster, to say the least. I mean, aren't they rolling out a sticker now so that anyone can put links into stories? So that kind of voids that one. What gets me though is the sheer amount of messages that you receive, either asking you how you got verified, and then when you don't say, or you know, you say, oh, you apply through the app, they get really bitter, being like, how did you get verified? You only have, I mean, me, for example, 1,400 followers, blah, blah, blah. You then get the ones that are begging you to follow them back because they feel that if they have someone verified following them, then their dreams come true. They beg you to comment on their stuff because I've seen someone, so this account had 1.5 million followers. Didn't take a genius to look through those followers and realize that they were all bots. And then you go through all of their pictures, and all of their pictures had thousands of comments from verified accounts. Like they were just so fucking desperate to collect verified things because to them that again shows that they're of some level of importance. And you know, this guy, I was looking through his stuff and I was like, okay, so he's got 1.5 million followers. His engagement actually wasn't that bad considering they were like 90% bots. I think he was getting maybe 3,000 to 10,000 likes per post, which I wouldn't be unhappy about.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
But yeah, this guy was just definitely on a mission to try and buy his way to some sort of relevancy. I had someone in my DMs that was so desperate to get verified that they were like, how do you get verified? And I'm like, well, looking at your account, I don't give these people the time of day anymore. I kind of had my fun with them, but I don't anymore because it's so tiresome. And he was like, oh, I don't understand. And I was like, well, you don't have a profile image. Like your profile image doesn't have you. You have no bio. You have like 3 pictures. So that's just not going to happen. Help me. And I'm like, okay, well, write yourself a decent bio. Like looking at your profile, I have no idea who you are and what you do. Can you write it? Fuck off. It's like, I'm not good English. Can you write bio? And I was like, yeah, for €30.
Sir.
And then he just turned, and then he turned around and was like, oh, I give you this account with 30k followers. Like, you know, one of those cliche kind of like aesthetic edit accounts that post the same video over and over again of, isn't it that one girl that's at the train station that spray paints a dick onto the guy's back? You know, that one that we've all seen a million times with the same lo-fi edit over the top. He was like, just take this account. It has 40k. You could just get verified again. I'm like, no, go away, leave me alone.
The thing with that is like, because you remember from yesterday, like I got this guy like
Yeah, the Garfield
asking me
guy.
to sell the thing. Yeah, I mean, for somebody who's like into it or like really interested in cash, I mean, 10, 15 grand for like an account, it's not that bad. It's like it's free cash. Um, but it's like the only problem that I had with this is that when this account got verified, they have my personal info, they have my passport and whatever. This is
Mm.
something that cannot be undone in the sense of like, if you sell your verified account to somebody, that account got verified with your full name, passport, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that this guy can, do anything other than harass or bully people online because it's an online account, or maybe like create some financial scams or whatnot. But it's your ID is on this fucking account. Like that
Well, I
would have been.
mean, yours might be.
Uh-huh. Yeah, but you know what I mean though. Like, 'cause for a moment, like when he said like, "Oh, 10 grand," I'm like,
Yeah.
like, because I'm thinking like, does anybody give a fuck if the Pueblo Vista account just, I post something and say, "Hey guys, follow the other profile." Who gives a fuck? Nobody cares.
Yeah.
Nobody cares really.
No, that's
But then I'm like,
that's what I don't understand. Why I don't understand the appeal and the desperation of these people to have a verified account. Whether that means
yeah,
that they can artificially grow it and have some sort of relevancy because they have the blue tick and then they can start getting brand deals. But since getting the blue tick myself, I haven't had an influx of like Boss or Ernie Ball coming and being like, "Hey, do you want to
no,
be sponsored?"
exactly.
I'd like that if anyone's watching that has connections to like Fender.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
yeah,
the first thing that I did after I don't know if I should be sharing this, but I mean, we're trying to get canceled here, so let's go.
oh god,
It's like as soon as I got the blue tick, I started like messaging models on Instagram, with no, like you go like this hot chicks. We have like 500,000 followers, no blue tick though. And you're like, what's up? No response. No response. And I'm like, fuck,
Yeah.
I guess I have to use that for swipe ups and doing like lives for over an hour.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, as soon as I got the blue tick, I think I sent Charlie Puth a message being like, "Hey, can we be friends?" No reply. No reply.
No reply. Like, dude, come on.
We still get put in the pending.
You're verified. I'm verified. Can we all just get along?
Exactly.
I mean, it's cool. It's funny. Like speaking about verification and stuff. Like I was talking to like when I posted my first comment on the Lofi Records post thing, Lofi Girl thing. I got like responses from replies from I think I didn't look that hard, but I guess there were like producers who were included in the compilation, and they were all verified. Like the moment that I saw the verification, it was like, oh, that's a lo-fi producer for sure. Like it's And then I would go in that. Remember, like I sent you I sent that screenshot on Discord with this guy like had like 3 posts, 300 followers, verified. It's like, it used to mean something. It used to mean something.
Yeah.
I mean, don't go too far. We got like we got Milan in the chat. Lazy me. I don't know. Does he have like more than 100 followers on his Instagram?
Probably not.
Probably not. But he's the only lo-fi producer in Nepal, I think, that I know of.
That's very generalist of you. There could be loads.
No, I'm being low-key racist here. I'm just gonna say it. I think he's got 634. Okay, good.
See, I at least went over 1,000 before I applied. God.
Yeah, I think they should have like some sort of like a threshold at least. Get 1,000 or something like that. Because when I asked Universal to help me out, they said we need your ID. You have to have some more. They weren't so concerned about having a real picture on the profile, which is okay. At the time, I think I just had the Pueblo Vista word mark, so I switched it to the bearded illustration man thing.
Yeah.
And then they said you have to have some sort of like presence in the press, some articles written about you or whatnot, and it was good. Well, I wouldn't say coincided. It was like more or less arranged like that. That the Rolling Stone Rolling Stone article came out. So I was like, okay, all right.
Didn't they get your name on though?
Oh no, this was like this. The one you're referring to is the is Forbes.
Shit.
Pueblo Vista. I was Pueblo Vista there, but this was like a article that was, let's say, more or less instigated by a news, and they had an extensive mention of what's his name? Ryan Sounds. Ryan, what is it?
Oh, isn't he the guy Muse?
The visual lo-fi boom bap alternative hip hop visual channel thing. Ryan, what is it? Oh,
I avoid everything I can in this scene.
Come on, man. I'm an idiot. Anyway, he works as he kind of like works for them.
Right.
Ryan Celsius. Yes, Ryan Celsius.
Oh yeah, he's a Muse, isn't he?
He has Bart Simpson as a profile thing. Yeah. Like he works for or he's affiliated with a news as like a Q&A, I think, for lo-fi and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah. So it was basically an article for them because there was also like a paragraph from some statement from their CEO or something like that, and then I was like more of like an honorable mention.
Yeah.
Puebla Vista. But yeah.
Yeah, I've been figuring out ways of getting press coverage, and it's a lot of out of the box thinking, because from my experience, no traditional music publication, whether hip hop, whether mainstream, gives a fuck about lo-fi.
No, they don't. No, I mean mine. I did like I landed the Rolling Stone interview through a PR agency that I paid. I can hook you up if you want. They're mainly focused in Italy, but I don't mind. We have a good chunk of our audience, and most of my producers, like Pueblo Vista, is like Little Italy by now, like with all the, there's a lot of Italians in there.
Yeah.
So, yeah. What does it say? Norma says, I'm verified on Spotify. Does that count? Actually, it's so funny that he said that because I actually, I think like this was like a while ago that I've seen like a submission. Somebody says, send me something. And it's like, I'm a verified artist on Spotify. Like, what are you talking about, man? Like, you claim the profile, you get the tick. But these are the kind of like, sometimes like I see people like that and I'm like, I don't want to work with you. In the sense of like, you could be like the best producer ever. But when I hear like nonsensical questions, like I'm, or like statements like I'm verified on Spotify, I'm like, I can only imagine the kind of questions that might come from this person.
Yeah.
And you're like, you can say one thing, repeat the same thing only so many times, And now that there's been, I think, the past couple of years, me evolving in a more grumpy old white man, that I would reply with, Google is your friend. Just ask Google. Don't ask me, just fucking ask Google, man. Like, I really don't, there's a lot of it out there. Even when it comes, mainly with content mismatches. We see this a lot, especially with, when a lot of these, let's say a lot of producers come up with not so unique names.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to burn anybody in the chat. One of them is definitely Normal. When that kid came to me, but that's like, he's like, yeah, but bro, like there's a space between the letters. I'm like, and I told him like back then that this is going to be hell when it comes to searching on Spotify, because Spotify does not like that. And I think on yeah, he's laughing. And I think on Apple, it's actually like they eliminate spaces and weird
Yeah.
syntax. Like they just blast everything out, flat everything out. Another person in the chat, I think, is 11. I love Pratek to death. He's like such a fucking cool guy. But he's like, when he first sent me something, I'm like, dude, what's your artist name? He's like 11. I'm like, is that it? Like 11 what? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Normal just posted like the way that this is pronounced on Apple is capital M, lowercase o, capital R M, lowercase a, and capital L. Like it's ridiculous. Like they just went above and beyond and just did their thing. But when it comes to even like to content mismatches, there's links. The Spotify link is very direct. Like I favored it, and if somebody asks me something, I send it out immediately because you can do it on your own. Like of course they say Spotify says you should contact your distributor or your label, whatever. But this is something you can initiate yourself, and it's a lot faster than waiting for me. And the other link for Apple is more difficult to discover. But I also have that, so if anybody wants it, I can pass it on.
Mm-hmm.
But it takes a lot longer for Apple to actually respond to requests. To that, I have to say I'm pretty surprised that Spotify support has become a lot better with the years in terms of like solving trivial issues with producers. Yeah, but no, good vibes. I was saying I'm definitely gonna have GmbH when I share music now. Hometown, Berlin, Germany. Yeah. I think that's it. By the way, like for the sake of information, GmbH is the abbreviation for LTD, limited. That's it. The German version for that. Yeah, and what Milan says also, like it's a lot of people choose Berlin as their currently based city when it comes pitching stuff. Like Lamar, like Michael said that to me, like he uses Berlin all the time now, and he says it's working. I mean, motherfucker got 2 placements on Jeezy Vibe, so I don't know.
Fuck it,
it's crazy. It seems like every lo-fi producer ever is located in Berlin right now. There's like Berlin has like 10 million inhabitants. 5 of them are lo-fi producers. Just live there.
I'll add one more to that.
Yeah, I mean, why not? Why not? So, good vibes. Good vibes. It's like Bremen. Yeah, let's go, Bremen. Okay. Well, okay, yeah, I don't know. Anything else? Should we just call it?
Yeah.
We've been on for a while now, right? Yeah, a couple of hours, I think, for sure.
Yeah, it's been good talks.
Yeah, as usual, Sunday roasts.
Yeah. Next time we'll destroy distributors and maybe talk a bit more about us. I don't know. What do people want to hear?
I think in the meantime, people can just, message us on Instagram what they would like to hear, and we can do like an even healthier mix of our country ways and questions from people.
Yeah.
Nothing is off limits. Well, I'm not going to send dick pics to anybody. So yeah.
Maybe we should set up like a Q&A near the time.
We can send them our PayPals for verifications if you want verifications.
Yeah.
I'll send you on PayPal on the chat, $50.
Or donate to my coffee. Donate to my coffee for playlist. No, I'm joking. It's not really.
Exactly. Cool. It's been a blast as usual, and thanks for this hardcore 13 to 20 people who stayed for so long.
Yeah.
Even though their time zones are pretty scrambled.
Maybe I'll say more next time as well.
Yeah, for sure.
No, it's fine. I just like you just putting me on the spot, That's the best.
Yeah. Next time it's going to be distributors.
Yeah.
Next time it's going to be distributors, personal experiences with them, questions from the chat, and other shit.
Yeah, you'll have
hopefully
to
some
guess.
team.
You'll have to guess when we
Send
do
us
it
the
again.
tea. Send us the tea and the drama. If you guys find out any lo-fi drama and lo-fi tea, send us links,
Yeah.
and we will investigate. We're private dicks.
Investigate. Fucking investigate. When are we doing a giveaway? Yeah, Paul's going to give away his entire
I'm gonna.
dick
I can.
collection.
I've been spinning in this bucket a lot of germs. I can give away all the used up napkins in here, or like tissues that I have drenched in my saliva.
Oh, yum. No, Paul's giving away the
Dude.
poster that's behind him. For the next.
The poster. The
Yeah.
poster that's behind me is actually like a cover of one of the compilations, but it's only one of a kind, so I'm not fucking giving that away.
Yeah, so he's giving that away for the first person that can put a aubergine emoji in the chat.
A what emoji?
Eggplant, all right. Sauce.
First eggplant emoji gets that poster in the bag. Not
Yeah.
really, but go for it.
It's just interesting
Still
to see
nothing.
how many people are left.
Nope. Actually, everybody's still.
There you go, it's me.
There we go. Okay, cool. All right, it's been a blast as usual, and yeah, we'll talk later on Discord, and to everybody else.
Yep.
Yeah.
Feel
Thanks for
free
watching.
to
Thanks for
send me a
wasting
message.
2 hours of your time on a Sunday with us.
Yeah. What a fucking waste, man.
What fucking losers, man. Losers. Oh God. Okay. Cool. Yeah.
All right.
See you guys soon.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Ciao.